If you've heard of design thinking, you may know that it's an ideology concerned with solving complex problems in a creative, user-centric way. But what does design thinking look like in action? What does the process actually entail? In this video, you will get to know everything about the design thinking process. Number 6. What is design thinking process? Design thinking is a process for creative problem solving. Rather than a one-shoe-fits-all mindset, it encourages a holistic view where uncertainty and ambiguity are welcomed and embraced as to consider all sides of a problem. A design mindset can be applied to any life situation, and it aids in considering the bigger picture and informatively acting accordingly. The method is steeped in a deep belief that the end user should be at the heart of all decision-making. The benefit of design thinking is that through empathy for your customer, consumer, or client, you are able to create products and experiences that truly help people and even change lives. Now let's take a look at the 5-step design thinking process. Number 5. Empathize. The first stage of the design process is to understand the perspective of the target audience / customer / consumer to identify and address the problem at hand. To do this, design thinkers are encouraged to cast aside all assumptions, because assumptions can stifle innovation about the problem, the consumers, and the world at large. This allows them to objectively consider any and all possibilities about the customers and their needs. Typical activities, observations. You'll go where your users go and see what they care about. You'll hold one-on-one interviews with a handful of your users to understand their attitudes on the topic you are exploring. Asking someone to tell a story about the last time they experienced the problem you're investigating provides a rich description that highlights details you might not have otherwise considered. Number 4. Define. Putting together all of the information gathered in the first stage, the next step is to define the problem statement clearly. The resulting problem statement should be captured in human-centered terms rather than focused on business goals. For example, instead of setting a goal to increase signups by 5%, a human-centered target would be to help busy moms provide healthy food for their families. Based on the frustrations you observed or heard about, come up with questions for how you might solve them. There's a lot of different ways to go about the define phase, but it's safe to say you'll need a wall of sticky notes. These will be filled with the quotes, observations, and ideas you heard throughout your research. Group and cluster ideas together until you find the prevailing or most prominent themes. As you explore the empathy data, focus on identifying patterns and problems across a diverse group of people. Number 3. Ideate. Now that the problem is apparent, it's time to brainstorm ways to address those unmet needs. You collect as many ideas as possible at the start, so that by the end, your team can investigate and test them. The ideation stage marks the transition from identifying problems to exploring solutions. It flows between idea generation and evaluation, but it's important that each process remains separate from each other. When it's time to generate ideas, do so quickly without focusing on the quality or feasibility of the idea for now. After ideas are collected, move into the evaluation phase. This is where you can go around the room and discuss the ideas presented to get clarification if needed. Number 2. Prototype. It's time to experiment. Through trial and error, your team identifies which of the possible solutions can best solve the identified problem S. This typically will include scaled-down versions of the products or systems in question, so you can present and get feedback from the people they are intended to serve. The goal is to start with a low-fidelity version of the intended solution and improve it over time based on feedback. Beginning with a paper prototype can help you learn quickly with minimal effort. The prototype should be a realistic representation of the solution that allows you to gain an understanding of what works and doesn't work. It is changed and updated based on feedback from the test phase in an iterative cycle. Number 1. Test. All of the work and information come together to test the product at the final stage. It's important to note that this is still an interactive stage. You will want to hear from your users again, just as you did in the empathize phase. The difference is that you are showing them your prototype to get feedback on whether or not it solves their problem. Testing is essential because everything, ultimately, should be about the people who will use your products. Now's the time to revisit the problem statement and make sure the end solution is meeting those needs and resolving frustrations. You want to see what real people think about your idea. This stage allows for all details to be flushed out and refined to create the best solution possible. Do let us know if this video was useful for your understanding. Thanks for watching.